POCO has just launched a new device, which, to no one's surprise, is based on a Redmi device. This brand lately has taken this strategy of simply renaming devices and launching them under the POCO brand, which in turn is a cheaper brand. We are talking about the POCO C75. I found all the C-series models a bit off-putting on POCO's part, where we generally don't find such attractive stuff. But remember that this is a very budget series that tries to focus a bit more on performance. Speaking of which, this device incorporates the Helio G80 Uno Ultra chip, a processor that has a very attractive name because of the Ultra surname, but that in general we could say that it is basically the Helio G80 with a little more frequency on the clock. That is, it will have a very similar performance. We are not really talking about a processor as powerful as its name sounds, but as I tell you, this device is based on the Redmi 14C. In fact, the specs are exactly the same. Let me remind you, it has a 6.88-inch display, so it's quite big, but it doesn't have such a high resolution as it stays only with HD plus resolution with 600 nits in its peak brightness, but it incorporates 120 Hz in its refresh rate. So like several entry-level devices, it tries to strike a balance to give you a very responsive display. Although personally, I would like more the 90 Hz proposal with full HD resolution because I think the HD plus resolution falls quite short, although in turn it could also improve or help in performance because the processor would not have such a high workload. This device arrives in green, black, and a more or less gold or beige color versions, all of them with a dual finish on this back. The bottom side has more or less some visual textures except for the black color, and the top side is completely smooth, with a circular camera module that makes it look like it is a much more expensive device, although in reality it is a very simple device. Personally, I don't like it when devices bet on incorporating such attractive designs which usually attract attention at the high end, but then start to become popular at the low end as well and spoil the design a bit. If you don't believe me, this device has a single 50 megapixel camera, even though it looks like it has 3 or 4 super advanced cameras on the back. But as I tell you, we're talking about a pretty simple camera capable of recording only in full HD. On the other hand, for the front camera, we find 13 megapixels on the sensor, so it does not stand out at all in the photographic section. But where it can get to stand out a little more is in the battery, since in conjunction with a processor that is not very powerful, I think the autonomy will be very good, considering that its capacity is 5,160 mAh. In addition, it will support 18-watt charging, which is not too bad. In this case, Yaurako po there are variants of 6 GB of RAM with 128 of storage, or also 8 GB of RAM with 256 of storage. The price of the most basic model is $109, taking advantage of the initial launch offer. Although remember that the prices here are not the same as over there, so we will have to wait to see how the price adapts in different regions. But for now, it is an extremely economical device which I think could attract the attention of those who are looking for a gaming device but have a fairly tight budget. I think that despite the fact that it integrates a processor that is not so powerful, taking as a reference what we can find in its price, it could stand out.